Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
Great to be digging in again.
Today, we're plunging into a story that has, well, it's really gripped the aviation world. A narrative far more complex and frankly unsettling than maybe the headlines suggest.
Yeah,
We're
definitely.
talking about Boeing, a name that, used to be absolutely synonymous with top-tier engineering, with safety.
Old standard, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now they're navigating this unprecedented crisis of trust. You might have heard this new slogan. It's kind of informal, doing the rounds.
Oh, the accountants versus engineers one.
That's the one. Enough accountants, give us engineers. It's powerful, isn't it? Almost desperate.
It really captures the mood, yeah.
And it perfectly frames this dramatic shift in how people see this aerospace giant. I mean, can you even imagine airlines, the customers, feeling they have to send their own engineers?
To scrutinize the production line?
Yes. Major clients like Emirates are actually doing that now.
Wow.
And even checking out Boeing's key suppliers, too. That's not just like unusual business practice.
No, it's huge. It's a seismic event, really, in an industry that is built entirely on absolute, unwavering reliability and trust.
Total.
It truly is. I mean, in a sector where precision, meticulous standards, and just implicit trust are the absolute bedrock, actions like that from major customers, it signals a profound breakdown. It
Right.
tells us something fundamental has gone wrong, not just in the manufacturing process, but crucially in the culture underneath it all.
So that's what we're doing today.
Yeah, this deep dive, we're going beyond those immediate incidents. We want to explore the systemic issues, the big cultural shifts, and this intricate, often flawed web of regulatory oversight.
Which has brought a company like Boeing, a titan, to this really critical point.
Exactly. It's about understanding the deep roots of the crisis, not just, looking at the alarming symptoms.
That's right. So get ready for quite a revealing journey, I think. We're going to unpack this series of startling incidents that have recently hit Boeing, then delve into the really shocking findings from the investigations.
And there are some genuinely shocking ones.
Yeah, and then explore that complex interplay, the corporate culture, the regulatory side, and the very real human cost.
Right.
All of which has brought this aviation giant to such a precarious spot.
Our mission, for you listening, is to give you a clear, comprehensive, and unbiased picture of how an aerospace powerhouse ended up here.
Giving you the full story, hopefully without getting bogged down in too much technical jargon.
We'll try.
And the goal is for you to understand not just what happened in these, frankly, unsettling events,
Yeah.
but why they happened, and what the bigger implications are for the future of aviation safety, globally.
That's it.
We'll connect the dots, look at various sources, so you hopefully walk away with a really informed perspective on a story that, let's face it, affects pretty much everyone who flies.
Or even just relies on air travel for, commerce and connection.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's start by going back to that moment, the one that really amplified all these concerns, the event that was like a blaring alarm bell for the whole industry, the Alaska Airlines flight,
Yeah,
January 5th.
exactly. Picture this, it's chilling. A brand new Boeing 737 MX, delivered just 10 weeks earlier.
Practically fresh off the line.
Right. Climbing steadily, 16,000 feet, passengers are settling in, maybe scrolling on their phones, whatever. And then suddenly, bam, a terrifying bang.
Yeah.
An emergency door, plug this critical panel.
Right.
It's designed to permanently seal off where an emergency exit could be, but on this plane, it's deactivated.
So it's meant to be part of the solid fuselage, essentially.
Yes, and it detaches, not just loosens, it explodes outwards, leaves this gaping, windswept hole in the side of the plane.
At 16,000 feet.
Can you even begin to process the sheer, immediate terror of that? The sudden rush of freezing air, the deafening roar, losing cabin pressure instantly?
The vulnerability, just open to the elements up there.
That's the nightmare scenario, isn't it? The one nobody ever wants to even imagine.
What's truly remarkable, though, and, frankly, by all accounts, a genuine miracle in that terrifying situation, is that it didn't turn into an absolute catastrophe.
Right.
The critical stroke of luck, the one detail that probably prevented, untold casualties,
What was that?
was that the row of seats right next to where that door plug blew out was, just by chance, completely empty.
Wow, pure luck.
Pure luck. If people had been sitting there exposed to that force, the vacuum, the outcome could have been devastating.
Unthinkable.
And, you have to credit the flight crew. Incredible skill, composure under just unimaginable pressure. They managed an emergency landing.
Got everyone down safely?
Brought everyone back to Earth without any human casualties. It really put that phrase, by the grace of God, into stark, immediate context,
Absolutely. A visceral reminder of how fragile that balance of safety can be.
Definitely.
And here's where it really starts to feel less like, okay, one terrible, isolated incident, and more like a deeply troubling pattern. Because this wasn't just some unlucky hiccup for the 737 MX, was it?
No, not at all. For so many people, it immediately brought back those devastating memories. Lion Air in 2018, Ethiopian Airlines in 2019.
The same aircraft model.
The very same. Events that collectively claimed 346 lives, grounded the entire global 737 MAX fleet for almost 2 years.
Those weren't just statistics. They were catastrophes that sent shockwaves everywhere and just shattered public confidence.
And for those of us who, track aviation safety closely, it's important to remember Boeing's challenges go back even further than the MAX tragedies.
Right, you mentioned this earlier.
Yeah, if you think back to, say, 2013, 2014, there were significant issues with their flagship, the 787 Dreamliner.
Okay, what kind of issues?
Well, we saw instances of fires caused by battery problems, widespread electrical system failures, that led to the whole Dreamliner fleet being grounded for a while, too.
So groundings aren't entirely entirely new territory?
Not entirely, but what's critical to understand and how those earlier incidents differ from the recent ones is the nature of the problem.
How so?
Well, in the Dreamliner cases, investigations mostly pointed to specific engineering oversights, maybe design flaws in components, material selection issues, things like that.
Technical problems.
Technical problems. Serious, yes. But typically problems you could address with concrete engineering fixes, design revisions.
Okay.
But the recent events, especially that January door plug incident, when you combine it with the latest investigations, the whistleblower accounts, they're revealing a different and arguably far more insidious kind of problem.
Which is?
It's not just about a design misstep anymore. It's about what investigators are now broadly calling a pervasive carelessness in manufacturing and quality control.
Carelessness. That sounds alarming in aviation.
It is. It signals a concerning shift from, identifiable technical glitches to a much deeper systemic and probably cultural problem within the whole production ecosystem.
Okay, so this pervasive carelessness, what does that actually look like on the ground? How does it, manifest itself?
Well, to really get it, we need to pull back the curtain on the findings from the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration.
We did a big investigation, right? 6 weeks.
Yeah, intensive. Into Boeing and also its key supplier, Spirit Aerosystems. They're the ones who make the 737 MX fuselage.
And the results
were, to put it mildly, damning.
Right.
The FAA audit teams, they fanned out across the facilities, meticulously checking production processes, quality checks, documentation, everything.
And they found
a litany of non-compliance issues. For Boeing itself, the investigation found 97 instances where the company failed to follow crucial rules and protocols. 97.
Wow.
And get this, out of 89 production audits the FAA did at Boeing, the company failed 33 of them.
Over a third.
Over a third of their audited processes didn't meet the required safety and manufacturing standards. That failure rate is just. It's unacceptable in aviation where the margin for error is basically zero.
It has to be.
And the problems weren't just at Boeing. When the FAA audited Spirit Aerosystems, they found failures in 7 out of 13 production audits. Similar, deep issues at a critical supplier.
So it's not just one bad apple.
No. These aren't minor paperwork errors. They're systemic failures in sticking to the crucial safety and quality protocols that are the absolute foundation of making aircraft.
It sounds like established procedures were just ignored.
Or maybe seen as optional. That's the picture it paints.
That's the core of it then, isn't it? Of a foundational breakdown. And the specifics of what they found at Spirit Aerosystems. Some of it is, frankly, almost unbelievable.
Like the hotel key cards.
Yes. Get this. Mechanics were reportedly found using common hotel key cards to check the rubber insulation around door plugs.
Like the plastic card for your room.
Exactly. To gauge the fit of vital insulation on a commercial jet. It sounds like a joke, a bad comedy sketch.
But the safety implications are incredibly serious.
Explain that. Why is that insulation so critical?
Okay, think of it like the gasket on a pressure cooker, right? At cruising altitude, say 16,000 feet like that Alaska flight, the air outside is super thin, less than half the oxygen you get at sea level.
Right.
But the cabin is pressurized artificially to feel like maybe 6,000 or 8,000 feet so we can breathe normally.
Okay.
The job of that insulation, that seal around things like door plugs, is to keep it airtight. It's critical for maintaining that cabin pressure.
And if it's not perfect?
If that seal is compromised by a bad fit, you could get rapid depressurization, a sudden violent equalization of pressure that can cause ear damage, hypoxia, even structural strain on the plane itself.
So using a hotel key card to check it.
It introduces huge variability, massive risk where you need absolute precision. There's no standard, no certified measurement. You're basically gambling.
It's an uncontrolled variable in a process that needs total control.
Exactly. It speaks to this culture of just making do instead of sticking rigidly to engineered standards.
And the innovative methods, as they apparently called them, didn't stop there, did they?
No. The FAA also found they were using liquid soap as a lubricant when installing this insulation.
Liquid soap?
Yeah. Followed by cleaning it with a wet cotton cloth.
I mean, you almost expect to hear they use chewing gum next. It sounds like a rushed DIY job, not building an airplane.
And when they were confronted, Spirit Aerosystems actually defended these practices, called them innovative and effective.
Seriously?
Yeah. They even mentioned they'd experimented before with Vaseline, talcum powder, starch.
Oh my goodness.
This is where the alarm bells should be absolutely deafening. Look, aircraft manufacturing involves hundreds of thousands of parts. Every single one has explicit, standardized procedures.
Meticulously planned.
Every material, every tool, every step is rigorously tested, documented, approved by engineers, by regulators. Any deviation, any gambling with unapproved methods like this,
The risks everything.
it introduces unknown, potentially catastrophic risks, and it fundamentally undermines the entire system of trust and reliability the whole industry is built on.
The FAA auditors themselves called the procedures unintelligible.
Which tells you just how far removed these practices were from safe established protocol. It really gives the strong impression that a kind of alarming randomness has crept into operations.
At both Boeing and its critical suppliers.
Yeah.
So this just begs the critical question, the one I'm sure you're asking at home.
Yeah.
How did practices this obviously unsafe go unchecked for so long?
Right.
How did an industry that prides itself on safety let hotel key cards and liquid soap into critical manufacturing?
And the answer, as we dig into it, takes us right to the heart of a really flawed oversight model, self-regulation.
Where Boeing effectively monitors and certifies its own planes.
Yeah, and this brings up a crucial point about the FAA itself, its role and its capacity. The FAA is, frankly, burdened with just an immense number of tasks.
It's not just overseeing plane manufacturing.
Oh, no, that alone is monumental, right, given how complex modern aircraft are. But beyond that, they also certify pilots, air traffic controllers, mechanics, flight attendants, even thousands of airports.
That's a huge scope.
Massive. And that vast scope, combined with decades of, let's say, fluctuating budgets and a persistent lack of enough qualified staff, it means the FAA struggles. They struggle to provide direct, boots-on-the-ground monitoring of this highly complex, rapidly evolving manufacturing industry.
They just don't have the people power.
Or maybe the specialized knowledge in sufficient numbers or the resources to train and retain them. It takes a lot to oversee these advanced operations effectively.
So the solution they came up with,
Yeah.
this self-regulation.
It's kind of a double-edged sword. They essentially deputized Boeing's own engineers to act as FAA representatives.
Meaning,
In practice, some Boeing engineers design and build the plane,
right,
while other Boeing engineers theoretically monitor those processes for compliance with FAA standards, and then they sign off on their own company's work.
often with the FAA stamp of approval anyway.
Exactly.
Wow, the conflict of interest there seems huge.
It's striking, isn't it? Now, on paper, these deputized engineers, they're called DRs, designated engineering representatives, they're supposed to adhere to the highest professional ethics.
They get special training.
Yes, from the FAA. They're legally committed to prioritizing safety above everything, even company directives.
But the reality,
The practical reality of having employees whose paychecks come from Boeing, whose whole career is at Boeing, oversee their own company's compliance. It creates this undeniable ethical dilemma.
because the pressure is always there.
Absolutely. Pressure to keep production schedules, meet delivery targets, cut costs. That can easily, maybe subtly, conflict with the absolute need to flag every single potential safety issue, especially if flagging it means delays or more expense.
It's the classic fox guarding the henhouse scenario.
In a very real sense, yes. And the pressures can be immense.
And it's important to remember, this wasn't adopted without a fight, right? This self-inspection model.
No, not at all. The idea of delegating so much oversight to the manufacturer faced strong opposition. Aviation unions, safety advocates, critics.
When was this?
Dating back to when it was first proposed around 2004, and especially leading up to when it was really implemented in 2009, people saw this exact conflict of interest coming.
Their warnings were basically ignored.
Largely dismissed, yeah. And if we look at the bigger picture, you have to understand Boeing's leverage. Political, economic.
They're not just any company.
No, they're a colossal pillar of American industry, a vital defense contractor, one of only two global giants making big commercial jets along with Airbus.
That gives them huge influence in Washington.
Immense. Reports suggest they engaged in extensive lobbying back in 2009, spending considerable money to sway Congress, arguing this model was efficient, necessary for competition.
The U.S. president often acts as a salesperson for them, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Underscores their national importance. So, despite the warnings, despite the clear ethical concerns, the program went ahead. Partly FAA resource limits, partly Boeing's power.
It's worth noting, other industries did this too, right? Self-inspection.
Yes, other U.S. companies in various sectors adopted similar models, but the consequences at Boeing, just given the stakes in aviation, they've been particularly stark and tragic.
And those consequences started showing up pretty quickly, didn't they?
Yeah.
Almost like those warnings were prophetic.
Remarkably quickly. Within just 4 years of full implementation in 2009, we started seeing those big issues with the 787 Dreamliner.
The electrical and battery problems you mentioned.
Exactly, which grounded the whole fleet. It was a really clear early warning sign that something was deeply wrong with the system.
And then the timeline escalates.
It's illuminating, tracing that clear line. From the Dreamliner issues in 2013-14, then the catastrophic 737 MX crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia in 2018-2019.
Hundreds dead. Global outrage.
And investigations revealed that the new flight control system, MCS,
That was a software issue, right?
yes, designed to compensate for bigger engines, but it repeatedly forced the plane's nose down due to flaws and bad pilot training, making it uncontrollable.
And MCS was certified under self-inspection.
A critical factor identified was that MCS and the pilot training for it had largely been certified through this very self-inspection process, not enough direct FAA scrutiny.
Wow.
And now, most recently, the January door plug incident.
So in each crisis, this debate flares up again.
Reignited with renewed fervor every time. Calls for reevaluation, for reform. A congressional investigation explicitly found the self-inspection system played no small part in these recent accidents.
So it's not just isolated events, it's a pattern linked to the oversight model.
A deeply concerning pattern revealing the inherent systemic risks of having a company largely monitor itself. And even after the MAX was recertified in December 2020.
Which was meant to restore confidence.
The problems continued. 4 airlines filed over 1,800 reports detailing new safety concerns, system malfunctions on the MAX after it was cleared to fly again.
1,800 reports.
Over 1,800. And the latest government investigations, backed up by whistleblowers, directly link that January door plug incident to the self-inspection program. The horrifying detail that came out, the plug detached because Boeing workers forgot to install 4 bolts in the door.
They just forgot.
And no amount of self-monitoring under this system caught that fundamental, incredibly dangerous omission.
Which raises the question, why doesn't the FAA just go back to full direct oversight?
It's complex, really challenging. You've got tens of thousands of these deputized employees across hundreds of aerospace companies, nearly 1,000 Boeing engineers alone acting as FAA reps.
And they're all paid by the companies, not the FAA.
Right. Dismantling or fundamentally restructuring this deeply ingrained industry-wide system isn't simple or quick. It would need massive investment, a complete overhaul of regulatory staffing, significant legislative action.
It's a huge undertaking.
Huge.
So this pervasive pattern, overlooking safety, cutting corners, it brings us to another really concerning and frankly tragic part of this crisis.
The human cost.
Yes. Specifically, the whistleblowers, the people inside who tried to sound the alarm.
These are often highly skilled quality engineers, production managers at Boeing, at their suppliers, people with deep expertise dedicated to safety.
But when they spoke up,
They faced intense pressure, obstruction, even chilling threats of dismissal or harassment, just for daring to raise legitimate safety concerns.
they saw the carelessness firsthand.
Exactly. And the evidence for this isn't just anecdotal, it's documented, deeply unsettling. A big 2019 New York Times report interviewed over 10 people.
What did it find?
Detailed accounts of whistleblowers being fired, demoted, intensely pressured after highlighting serious safety risks during assembly. It paints this chilling picture of an environment where speaking up could cost you your career, or worse.
And Boeing itself admitted problems, didn't they?
Even more concerning, yeah. In a 2021 court document, Boeing actually confessed to using its engineers to manipulate the FAA.
Manipulate the FAA.
Acknowledging these engineers were effectively forced to comply with company directives that potentially undermine safety, all to protect their jobs.
They were caught in an impossible situation.
Completely. Uphold professional ethics or ensure your livelihood.
And the cost of speaking out. Tragically, it's become even more stark recently.
Yeah.
Take the deeply disturbing case of John Barnett.
A former Boeing quality manager, over 30 years experience. Very outspoken.
He raised serious concerns, right? About the North Charleston plant. Parts being taken from scrap bins and put on planes.
Yes, exactly that. And just as he was about to give more deposition testimony in a lawsuit against Boeing for retaliation,
He was found dead.
found dead in his truck, gun in hand, death ruled a suicide.
But there was skepticism.
Huge skepticism. His lawyer, who handles a lot of whistleblower cases, strongly disputes the suicide claim, cites Barnett's character, his determination to expose the truth, and the extremely suspicious timing.
Just days before testifying.
It's impossible to ignore the chilling implications. Thankfully, investigations into his death are ongoing, but it underscores the immense pressure.
And then, just last week, another tragedy.
Joshua Dean, a whistleblower from Spirit Aerosystems, the supplier we talked about.
He'd also raised concerns. Quality control, manufacturing defects.
Yes. And he reportedly died from a sudden, aggressive bacterial infection at age 45.
Just 45. That's incredibly young.
The human cost here is just immeasurable. And the chilling effect these deaths have had, it's profoundly disturbing.
People are scared.
There are confirmed reports of palpable fear among the remaining whistleblowers, maybe 10 or so individuals. It highlights the extreme risks of speaking truth to power in this environment.
And it's not just the deaths, there's ongoing pressure.
Right, there's a third, unnamed whistleblower, quality engineer, 30-plus years at Boeing, recently reported facing direct retaliation, being explicitly told to shut up after raising safety concerns about parts.
Shut up.
Hello.
It suggests a pattern of active, aggressive suppression, a hostile environment for anyone prioritizing safety over production numbers. So if we step back, the hotel keys, the missing bolts, the non-compliance, the whistleblowers under pressure. Why? Why would a company whose entire existence relies on trust in its safety suppress safety information? Why punish the people trying to prevent disaster?
It connects right back to the bigger picture, corporate economics.
Money.
Pretty much every error found, every quality issue, every deviation from procedure, it translates directly into extra costs, production delays, rework.
And they're in a race.
Fiercely competitive global market, only two big players. A relentless race to recover from past crises, boost revenues, increase stock prices for shareholders, the pressure to cut corners, overlook problems, even silence those who point them out. It becomes immense.
So short-term financials override safety.
It looks like a clear case where the perceived short-term financial imperative, the quarterly earnings, the delivery targets, seem to override the fundamental, non-negotiable commitment to safety, ethics, long-term reputation.
Profit becomes a main metric.
And when that happens, the systems designed to ensure quality can slowly, surely just erode.
Which brings us, really, to the root of it all, the core issue underneath everything.
Boeing's corporate culture.
Exactly. It seems increasingly clear that over the past 25 years, maybe particularly since the merger with McDonnell Douglas in '97,
A pivotal moment.
that culture has relentlessly prioritized profitability, cost-cutting, revenue above all else, often at the expense of those foundational engineering principles and safety standards.
The old engineering-first ethos that built Boeing's legendary reputation. It seems like it was systematically dismantled.
Yeah.
And this is a critical insight. Former managers, longtime employees, they've acknowledged this. Some even expressed pride in it earlier on, saw it as necessary evolution.
Embrace the profit-first philosophy.
Right. Now, recent events, the mounting public pressure, it's forced Boeing's current leadership to publicly acknowledge this damaging cultural shift as the primary cause of these disasters.
That change it.
Changing a deeply embedded mindset forged over a quarter century, that is incredibly difficult, slow, arduous.
Because that culture actively discourages reporting problems.
It directly inhibits it. Employees fear repercussions for slowing production, increasing costs, challenging directives. It creates exactly the environment where whistleblowers get punished and where carelessness can become normalized.
So overturning that isn't just about new leaders.
No, it requires a complete paradigm shift. Factory floor to the boardroom. A total resistance to change needs to be overcome.
And that's the monumental challenge, isn't it? How do you fundamentally change a corporate culture ingrained for decades, especially one that demonstrably led to loss of life?
It's not a quick fix, not a new memo or a public apology.
No, it needs deep organizational transformation, touching every level, a complete reprioritization of values.
Precisely. And this is why, circling back to where we started.
The airlines sending their own engineers.
Exactly. Major airlines like Emirates feel compelled to take that extraordinary step, monitoring Boeing's production lines, even their suppliers.
It's a clear sign trust is gone.
It's an unmistakable sign. Trust has eroded, not just in specific fixes, but in Boeing's entire manufacturing ethos, its quality control, its ingrained culture.
So the industry, the public, we're all just waiting.
Waiting for Boeing's genuine, verifiable return to that historical emphasis on safety and engineering excellence, the values that built their reputation in the first place.
It's going to be a long climb back.
A long, arduous climb. And it hinges entirely on whether they can truly dismantle and rebuild that culture from the ground up.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something maybe for you to think about. Given this complex mix, right? Corporate culture, intense economic pressures, the real challenges facing regulators in critical industries like aviation.
Yeah.
Where does the responsibility truly lie? Is it with the companies themselves or the regulatory bodies trying to ensure public safety?
And how can you even achieve a balance there, a sustainable balance that can be rigorously maintained?
Especially in a world where global economic interests often clash, sometimes tragically, with that fundamental non-negotiable need for human security.
It's a huge question, extends way beyond just Boeing.
It really does. Demands our collective attention, our critical thought.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us on this pretty essential deep dive. We hope this exploration has given you a clearer, maybe more comprehensive understanding of the profound forces at play here.
Yeah, hopefully shed some light.
Until next time, keep digging, keep questioning, and stay informed.